Visit Amazon.com to learn about my book, Astrology, realized in English and Spanish, and shop my website, NadiyaShah.com, for exclusive The Universe is Wise and Loving merchandise and my signature jewelry line, Astro Fabulous Jewelry. Enjoy. Hello, fabulous friends and fans. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of January 17th, 2016. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. This week, early in the week, lots of over-the-top, dreamy, out there, far out kind of energy. And then the end of the week, it gets much more grounded, but still really wanting that dream. And you add to this a certain perception and a depth and an intensity that is going to be growing this week and actually will be kind of free floating right till the end of the month, while all that makes for really exciting times and very changeable times as well in the sky this week. So early in the week, we have Venus speaking with Jupiter and Mars speaking in supreme harmony with Neptune. So this conversation between Mars and Neptune is amazing if you do anything where you want to get into the flow, okay? So if you're about getting in the flow of whatever you're doing, if you're an artist or an athlete, especially where it comes to bringing body and spirit together. And so a lot of people who, especially who use their bodies like artists and actors, they talk about how you can just be so present in the moment and in the movement that you don't really realize. It's like spirit becomes one with matter. And the energy of the moment or the energy of the character or the energy of the task that you're doing that matters to you, the energy of your workout even, the energy of a song starts to take that much more dominance and finds an ease in it. Doesn't mean that you're not still doing a whole lot, but there's a certain ease that comes about. And also, depending on how this is speaking in your unique chart, this also is just really about being plugged in, even wired into source. I think I shared an example a few weeks back where I said that for those of you who work with any kind of energy, right, like Reiki or other sorts of treatments where it has to do with energy work, energy body work, I remember sharing that one of the lessons I learned very early on, my aunt, who's certainly a spiritual mentor to me, my Aunt Shireen, I remember she was very insistent. I was like 19 years old, and she was really insistent that I go with her to learn Reiki. And that was one of the things I remember about my early lessons, that if you are doing a treatment and you feel tired, you start feeling like achy, it means that you're not doing it right. Because it's not your energy that you are supposed to be giving. It is that you should feel wired, not tired, because you're tapping into something and you're just directing that energy. Now that can be done, like yes, energy treatments is a very obvious form that this is done, but that really can be done in so many different areas of life and however it is that you are called to do it. So this is going to be one of those times, especially early in the week, where we feel that dream and we feel in alignment with that dream and might even feel a little overconfident as well because of the way that Venus is speaking with Jupiter. Now this is a conversation of tension, but when it's Jupiter involved, it tends to be overdoing it. What's really great though is that before the week is out, Venus will enter the sign of Capricorn, and in about 3 weeks' time, will speak in supreme harmony with Jupiter. So if you find yourself, again, going over the top in the early part of the week, and you have your faith and you have your belief, but then at the same time, maybe there's some uncertainty or some questions, questioning love, questioning your finances, the security that you feel. And it might also be like a big splurge that you really want to make and you know that you could, but there's some mixed feelings around it. Try to relax with it. I mean, I think that's going to be one of the number one advice I'm going to give you now this week and moving forward, right to the end of the month actually. Try to relax into it, because it does look like chances are we're making something a very heightened deal at the early part of the week when it really doesn't need to be. And remember, we are still in a Mercury retrograde season. And because of that, you know, I know I'm doing it myself as well. It's always during Mercury retrograde that I like to go on eBay. And there's this website in other parts of the world, like here in Mexico, called Mercado Libre, which is like the eBay of this part of the world. And I know for some reason, during Mercury retrograde, I love going on these sites, but then I know that I probably will change my mind, which tends to happen quite a bit once Mercury starts going forward and going strong. And so I'm seeing a lot of other people as well in my life, right? Coming and saying, hey, this person can sell me their computer and it's a really, really great deal and I want to do it. And I'm like, look, Mercury, chill out, hang tight, just wait. And so that's going to be part of the learning over the course of this particular really month. But this is energy that's going to start building now. And a lot of this is thanks to Mercury. So we know that Venus is doing some interesting things that will give way in a few weeks' time to some very positive occurrences and outcomes and just good luck all around. So if it seems like you're overshooting the mark and you find yourself either feeling a little disappointed or a little uncertain about your way forward, don't worry, things will fall into place really nicely for you in just a few weeks' time. If you are one of those people who feels like there's some kind of big splurge that you're really wanting to make and you're hoping to make, even if you know you can, right? It is okay to wait as well, because I would advise you again, and especially if it's something that is for fun or aesthetic reasons, my advice would be just wait 3 weeks or so, and you'll have a lot more support happening in the sky to make some really positive things take place for you, especially where it comes to buying pretty things. So we move forward now. And we're talking about Mercury. Mercury is going to be doing some interesting things this week. So Mercury actually is going to station this week and begin to go direct. So when Mercury is sort of like slowing down to a halt, right? It isn't just like a switch on and off. Rather, it is like Mercury slows down and then stands still for a moment and then changes direction, but does so slowly. So that period of time, those few days surrounding that turn of direction, is what's called stationary. In this case, stationary direct. So this is now Mercury beginning to walk the last of, now this is the third time he's going to walk the last of a path that he's already been over twice. So as Mercury is hanging out here, right? And I would invite you to think back to what was happening in the middle to late part of last month. So especially when we look at what was happening last year, really, in December, this is going to be a time that in some way will bring clarity to issues, ideas, considerations, contemplations, especially how you could move your life forward, motivations as well, will bring a burst of clarity and help you to understand how it is that you can move forward in a direction that's going to allow you to make some tangible progress. But here's the thing, and here's what's very interesting, very special about this time. So when Mercury is, stationary, okay, so right around these days, his energies are particularly heightened. But what's also happening at the same time is that Mercury will be speaking with Uranus while hovering over Pluto. So I did talk about this for some of the monthly signs, like where it applied for the monthly horoscopes. So you might want to watch that again. But I do think that this is an energy that's going to speak to a lot of us in different ways. So for some of us out there, this is going to be that real desire to focus your mind on what matters. Feeling like you want change and you want it now and you understand what needs to happen to get it and you're focused in on it. So there's a clarity on the one hand, a determination on another, but just, this is like the proverbial, like just almost like a burning desire, right? Like this steely kind of focus on where it is that you desire to go, what it is that you desire to do. But this can also be a pretty intense energy, an energy that can be tiring, that can be draining. So it's really important this week. It is so important, especially depending on where this particular placement falls for you. It is so important to practice self-care, especially if you're a sensitive person. I have really come to learn and understand, and I think I'm continuing to learn, that when you are a spiritual person, it is that much more important to practice self-care in different ways. So we've got this very heightened energy happening. For some of us, if you're, paying attention, then it might be that we're hearing, as I said before, Mercury is the media, so it might be like a lot of very heightened rhetoric. But remember, Mercury's kind of just hovering, right? So it's not like anything's actually seeming like it's moving that forward. And especially considering that there's a full moon at the end of the week that is speaking in supreme harmony with Saturn. So that'll be really good to ground the energy. But when I look at this particular sky, it does suggest to me that if you're hearing a whole lot of rhetoric, if it's getting you riled up in ways that you don't need, then you can decide where it is you're going to direct that energy so that you are aligned with the best of you. You're aligned with what it is that you really desire to experience more of in your life. And this actually, I think, is an important lesson. And I think considering that Mercury is going to be, as I said, hovering here right to the end of the month, it tells me that this is a lesson that a lot of us in our own way are going to be going through. So focus in on what really matters and dedicate yourself to that. And especially if you dedicate yourself to that with an eye to the big picture, like knowing, okay, if I do this now, this actually is going to make a much better difference in my life and my goals and whatever, than allowing my energies to scatter, because that can really happen with this. And as I said, energy of anxiety can be really high. And the way that you resolve that is to decide that you will ground yourself in love. To be grounded in love is one of the surest ways to relieve any sort of tensions and upsets and hurts and anxieties and insecurities. If you're grounded in love, you really cannot make a wrong choice. And if you're listening to yourself, you are certain to be learning along the way, incorporating self-knowledge in all your experiences. I think that that is one of the best things about being a human being, is that we're able to bring all these different factors together. At the same time, Pluto is with Mercury, okay? Now, I really have been contemplating this quite a bit actually lately, and I was recently asked in an interview about this as well, about this idea of, manifesting. We can manifest anything we want. And I think last week was really a good time for that. A really good things were playing out. If you remember last week, I talked about luck, right? The sun was speaking to Jupiter in supreme harmony. And what did we have? I just thought it was so interesting, so lovely, is we had this big news of the Powerball lottery that was taking place, the largest lottery ever. And I thought, this is so Jupiter speaking in supreme harmony with the sun in earth signs. It just seems so perfect to me. But having said that, when we look at the energy for right now, what I find so interesting in speaking in an interview recently as well, I talked about how we have this part of us that, yes, we can be motivated, we can be positive, we can move forward, we can make amazing things happen. But at the same time, as much and as strong as we have that free will, sometimes that free will means that we have to decide that the best thing to do right now is to accept. And also, look, it's Pluto, right? Pluto has to do with stuff that you'd rather not look at. Pluto sometimes has to do with stuff that doesn't seem fair, doesn't seem right. So how are you going to resolve that energy? Because Mercury is also hovering, speaking with Uranus. So this is about breaking free from the bonds of the past, moving boldly towards the future, recognizing the equality in all of us, wanting that brave new world, and being willing to do what you need to do, especially personal change. being willing to look at yourself and understand what needs to change within you so that you can be part of that brave new world isn't always an easy process, right? Sometimes we have to challenge our own, whether it's our own insecurities or whatever the case might be. So this is going to be a process that all of us in some way are going to be engaged in. So be kind, be gentle to everybody around you, especially as we know that energies might be a little high, okay? So gentleness, kindness is this, I just think it's such a healing balm that really can change just about anything. To have that burst of kindness, to understand yourself, really can have a way of changing so many different situations. And also when it is that your acceptance is your power, then that can change things for you. That can allow you to take any experience and have it move you towards greater love and greater wisdom. And especially when it's rooted in self-knowledge, I think it's that much more meaningful at that. So I did mention the full moon happening in the sign of Leo. So we've got this happening at the very end of the week. Before we get here, we're going to have the sun moving into Aquarius. So happy birthday to all the Aquarians out there. You're starting your birthday month. And as I mentioned earlier as well, Virgo will move into the sign of Capricorn. And then we get to the very end of the week and we have got a full moon happening in the very early steps of the sign of Leo. So if you were born like in the early 20s of any month, so let's say you were born anytime between the 20th and the 25th, okay? You were born during that time, you are going to feel this energy more than others, but everybody out there should be feeling the rise of this energy. Now, Leo energy is very passionate, right? It's a very love-oriented energy because it's a very heart-centered energy as well. So there's an element to it that has to do with love and getting clear on what love matters. And also it has to do with expansion, right? It has to do with loving more than you knew you could before. And of course, there is a joy part of it as well, the sign of Leo. There's a passionate part of it as well. So we are going to have heightened passions, yes, because we are going to have Mars speaking with this full moon. But at the same time, we will have some supremely harmonious conversations taking place, or a supremely harmonious conversation happening with this full moon and Saturn. So this to me really, I think, is going to be our saving grace. This is going to be that thing that allows us to be anchored and allows us to understand what it is that is coming forward for us so that we can see it for whatever it is, right? Whatever your journey of self-knowledge entails, whatever that may be. You'll be able to see it that much more clearly, decide if it works for you or not, decide what direction you're going to go in or not. And from there, feel a greater sense of stability, but also a greater sense of connection to what ultimately it is that matters. There's a certain embodiment to this energy. I mean, you think about Saturn, right? Saturn is very much about the human experience. And Saturn is about honoring the physical realm. It's about honoring that we're incarnated for a reason. And that as much as we give is as much as we will get. Well, this will give us the real motivation to align ourselves with where it is that we want to go, and very likely and very soon, thanks to the fact that it is a full moon, start to see some wonderful manifestations take place. Well, thank you so much for watching the introduction. I'm truly grateful for it. Please like, comment, subscribe, thumbs up, share. I'm so very grateful for it. Love this moment with you. Love interacting with you guys. Facebook, Twitter, Google+, my website, nadiyashah.com, and the YouTube comments as well. So I do want to give a couple of very quick shout outs, if I may. Thank you so much to all the artists out there. You are amazing, and I just feel so blessed to have so many brilliant, creative people a part of my path. So I've been sending out a call out to artists. If you're an emerging artist and you desire to showcase your work, then I would love to be a part of that. So basically these background images that you see, I could use one of your works of art if you have a high resolution digital image of an original piece of art, and especially if it's something that you created, please do let me know. You can let me know on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, my website, nadiyashah.com, and send a link to, if you have a website, if you got an online portfolio or Facebook page, please do share a link of your work. And I'm really looking forward to sharing some amazing artists with you guys in the weeks and months to come. But this is part of how I am hoping to give back over the course of this year. That's one of my goals this year, is to give back more, and also to be more grateful. It's also part of the process for me as well this year, part of my learning, part of my intention. So I did want to give a shout out to two people. One is actually the person who inspired this whole artistic engagement. And so many of you are engaging, which is amazing. It's one of those things that you guys are communicating on a lot and interacting with me a lot. So that's so great. But actually, I'll tell you, I have known somebody for 10 years. She's my friend and a sister to me. And her name is Ambreen Anayat. She's a big player in the Toronto art scene and has done so much to celebrate artists and bring artists from around the world to Toronto to celebrate Canadian artists, Torontonian artists as well. And she's a mover and shaker. She's like I like to call her a big dog, because she works for the city of Toronto, special events, and is really part of celebrating art, not only in a very public way in terms of the work that she does, but also personally as well, by constantly supporting artists. And so she's been posting lately all kinds of amazing photographs, Instagram, of her celebrating artists, celebrating their creations, celebrating who they are. And that gave me the inspiration to say, I would like to do that too. I want to be part of affirming that art really matters. Now, interestingly, just a little side story, I will say that I actually met her 10 years ago, and I had auditioned for a play that she had co-written, and it was a series of monologues of different experiences of women who have been affected by domestic violence. So it was very provocative, it was very insightful. These were very strong monologues. I think that was the last acting I really did was for that project. But I remember I auditioned, and I kind of left and I was like, oh well, okay, that was all right. And very soon after was able to be part of this project, and it was part of my life for a couple of years. So that was pretty amazing. And ever since then, I've just watched her grow and grow in her commitment to art of all kinds. And so now I hope that I'll be able to watch a lot of artists, a lot of people out there grow as well. So I'm looking forward to that. The other person I want to give a shout out to is Rebecca Gitana. Now, Rebecca has been part of my spiritual path, especially as of late. I've been learning so much about, as I said, about self-care and about self-knowledge as well, as part of honoring myself and who I am, and refining what it is that I want to represent, what it is that I want to give, what it is, and magnify what it is that I desire to be grateful for as well, and to experience gratitude more and more. So she's been a very important part of my spiritual path as of late. She has an amazing website called lifestyleremix.com. So I just think that she's such a spiritual powerhouse, and she does like feng shui and interior design and urban gardening and cooking and color therapy, like all this really cool stuff that has to do with being in our space, owning who we are, and also living in alignment, especially in terms of the immediate environment that you create around yourself. And of course, self-care, nourishment, all of that is represented through her work. Her website is beautiful, and she's got some really beautiful videos up on YouTube as well. So I hope that you will check out her website, especially because it has been, and her work has been, and her friendship has been very meaningful to me. lifestyleremix.com. So again, I love our interactions. Please do keep them coming. And I love your questions as well. Sometimes I'm asked questions that are a little bit more personal. And if that's the case, please do consider a personalized horoscope where I can do just that. Look at your unique birth chart and answer questions uniquely for you and you alone. And you can find out a lot more about that on my website, nadiyashah.com as well. And I have deluxe packages. Some really popular readings right now are life purpose readings. You guys are loving those. Career and luck, success and luck, and love and luck as well. And I'm so grateful for your trust, really. I think that's really everything. Just to have your trust, to have this moment with you means so much to me, and I'm so very grateful for it. You know, I do believe, and I like to say that my mission is to affirm in the world that the universe is wise and loving. And I can feel myself like sort of at this turning point right now where I'm trying to understand, and I'm learning and I'm growing, but I'm trying to understand how to embody that more and how to more effectively live that in the world, in my own life, but also in terms of all the things that I desire to share with you guys, all the ways that I hope that we can grow together, and all the ways in which you bless me and are part of my spiritual path is definitely part of helping me to have that clarity. So I'm really so grateful for that, and that you being here allows me to live that mission to the best of my ability, to the best of my understanding. Today really means so much to me. And there are a lot of you out there. Some of you have been watching me for a little time. Some of you have been watching me for a long time. And I hope that you have, and I think that you have because the feedback you've given me, have been seeing an evolution, have been seeing a growth. And my hope is that that continues, that you continue to see growth in me as I am, just like anybody else, part of that movement, our collective and individual movement, and understanding and desire to embody greater love and greater wisdom. Well, thank you so much again. So how all this wonderful, celestial, beautiful stuff speaks to you in your sign is coming up right now. Hello, fabulous Aries. This week, it is Mars speaking in supreme harmony with Neptune that is going to be very much a saving grace for you. In fact, the fact that this is taking place in parts of the sky for you that are very private, that have to do with an inward and energetic understanding, a certain quietness, I think that a lot of this to me means that a part of you is going to be feeling the love, is going to want to be like just being in that love, hanging out at home, or in your own time with your own thoughts. So those of you who are in an established bond, I actually think that this is going to be really great for further emotional intimacy and connection. And especially as we move towards the end of the week with the full moon. That is a particularly passionate one, but also one that suggests a deepening of commitment as well. So if you are in an established bond, you will definitely benefit by many different things taking place this week. If you are open to meeting someone new or just getting to know someone, it is going to be that full moon that is the stronger symbol for you. And it does suggest that there's a lot of promising possibilities of meeting somebody. Promising possibilities and possibilities that have that potential to last, have long-term potential. That's what Saturn is about. Saturn's about the long term. So you may have some very strong feelings, some passionate things might come up for you, and all of it eventually gives way to a deepening of understanding of what you really need. What I would say though is enjoy the moment. There are going to be, Pluto speaking with Mercury is also happening, and this to me says that all of us are going to be feeling and thinking things in a heightened kind of way. And so for you, this is going to be speaking to ambition and career and desire and direction and life purpose. So if you stay connected to that, then this energy will help you achieve a great deal starting now and right to the end of the week. So this does ask to compartmentalize your life a little bit, but I do think that it is going to be now your higher goals and thinking about what it is ultimately that you most desire that is really going to help you to create more and more amazing things, but also it's going to change you in some deep ways. It's going to lead you to ask yourself some challenging questions. Now, for some of you, those questions might be related to, do I like what I'm doing? Am I really in alignment? Am I willing to take a risk to be more or feel more in alignment with that higher vision for my life or not? And regardless of your answers, right, just asking the question and being willing to entertain the question starts a very important process for you. And this process is going to be one that you will stay engaged in right to the end of the month. Hello, fabulous Taurus. This week we've got Venus speaking with Jupiter. So there's this magnification of Venus's energy happening. And of all the signs likely or possibly open to overdoing things, it would be you, especially this week, and especially as we're starting this week as well. And especially, I gotta say, where it comes to finances. And so be mindful of the credit cards. This looks like a weekend when you might be really charging up those credit cards, enjoying yourself, which is awesome. But of course, stay in that energy of abundance. That's an amazing thing to do. But be mindful of what you're feeling as you're doing it. Because the thing is that I found and I've seen that a lot of times people, as they're using their credit cards, like there's a little voice in them that's saying, you know what, like this is credit, this is another bill. Maybe you should be using your debit card instead. If you are finding yourself having that, like just breathe, take a pause, figure out what it is that you want to do and what it is that's really going to work for you. But as I said in the introduction, a little bit later on, in about 3 weeks' time, we will be out of Mercury shadow, and you will have some much more supportive conversations happening in the sky to make some really amazing purchases. And especially where it comes to things like luxury products or things that you really want to last a long time, things that you hope will bring a lot of beauty and a lot of joy into your life. I mean, you know, if you've been watching me for a while, you know I like clothes, I like jewelry, I like all of that stuff, right? I like being a girl. And regardless if you're a boy or a girl, whatever that is for you or whatever that represents for you, especially right now with that Mercury retrograde and in an earth sign as well, if you can hold off a little bit, that will only help you more as we get forward a few weeks from now. And any kind of really aesthetic changes that you're trying to make that look like they require an investment, if you can do the best with where you are now and actually just hold off on that investment or on that final choice, that will ensure that the choices you do make are ones that feel even better and feel even more right for you, especially in the bigger picture. Where it comes to matters of heart, again, your ruling planet, goddess of love, speaking with Jupiter, and we've got this Mercury retrograde happening as well. So this to me suggests maybe not, I mean, I look at this, first of all, Venus speaking to Jupiter, overdoing things, right? Maybe being really overly ambitious. And you add to that Mars speaking in harmony with Neptune. That again is just really seeing and feeling things that are a lot about you, right? And a lot about what you want to experience more of in your life. And so I put this together, and it does suggest to me that if you are wanting to meet someone new, that's awesome. But what I would suggest is don't get too carried away just yet. Enjoy yourself, enjoy your life, connect with new people. But also, if you're in an established bond or if you're just getting to know somebody, just be mindful that this can be a time when what you really want and what is actually there might be a little bit of a disconnect that you don't want to see, and that might also be part of what leads to a splurge on your part, whether it's to impress this person or whatever. So you want to balance that energy out a little bit and remember that much better decisions will be made around your energy and your love as we move just a few weeks into the future. So enjoy yourself. That's always, always important. I don't care what's happening in the sky. Do enjoy yourself, but know at the same time that if you can stay connected to and grounded to that energy that is actually asking you to think big picture, which is really what this Mercury retrograde and Mercury right now in fellow Earth sign Capricorn is about. If you can stay in that understanding of a vision for your life, for your future, I think that's only going to help you to strengthen the love that you have and move towards the love that you truly want. Hello, fabulous Gemini. This week, we have got an adventurous sky and adventurous Mercury. And this Mercury is actually going to be like sort of hanging out, hovering, slowing down, and it's going to be speaking with Pluto and Uranus for an extended period of time. It's very rare for this to happen, but it's happening right to the end of the month. And what this suggests to me is that for you, this is a very important time. It's an intense time as well of some self-reflection, of understanding what really matters, what's really essential, of understanding what is superficial as well. Now do keep in mind, you might not be seeing things so like clearly, so obviously, okay? Especially as we're starting the week. And so there's an understanding here of power and what does that really mean, and how is your life moving you towards real power or not? So there's a sense of a redefinition happening with this particular energy. And I think this could actually work amazingly well in your favor to strengthen you, to help you to move forward, to build your energy, and to build a sense of positive changes. Being honest with yourself, knowing what's superficial and what isn't. And knowing what is superficial doesn't mean you have to reject it. It just means acknowledging that some stuff is there for fun and other stuff is there because it truly does matter. Now, a few of you out there, some of this energy might play itself out in terms of finances. So if you are one of the few Geminis out there who are finding yourself having some interesting, issues where it comes to money, working out a loan or a grant or an inheritance, if any kind of issue like that is coming up, know that it will be resolved, okay? But you just might have to give it a little bit of time, and you might also have to surrender it as part of finding the right answers for you. So we do have this really nice energy there with some other things happening in the sky, particularly Mars and Neptune, which is great. And at the same time, you are going to be asked to, while connected to that dream, and friends really are going to be a key part of enforcing that inspiration, as well as partnerships as well. So if you're in an established bond, this can be a really great place to go to remember what matters and to feel that sense of possibility, right? To feel that sense of openness when life starts to feel a little more serious than you'd necessarily like it to. Your power is in recognizing what you control right now and what you don't, and surrendering what you don't, but taking action, doing the best that you can right now also. So we have that energy playing out. Again, if you're in an established bond, lots of supportive energy there. Also with friends as well, lots of supportive energy playing out with getting the right advice at the right time and the right inspiration all around. Those of you open to meeting someone new, I would just say to you that we've got some really wonderful stuff, yes, happening now, but especially as we move forward just a few weeks from now. So anyone you meet now, I mean, it looks like there's just such a heightened energy with you right now. And so you're just going to want to watch that. I think your desire right now is going to want something really substantive. And it might even be, if you've been single for a while, this might be a time that starts to show you if you have any like sort of conflicting beliefs or desires. If it is that you do want a relationship, but maybe you're not really sure, or maybe you don't want a relationship and you're able to be more honest with yourself about that you don't want that right now. But this is that time that's going to help you to be with yourself and be with your feelings and understanding yourself that much more deeply, how you got where you are, where it comes to matters of heart, and how it is that you now can move forward in the direction that you desire to go. Hello, fabulous Cancer. This week we have got an active sky, but for you, what I really do like is two things are taking place. One is the fact that in your fellow water signs, Scorpio and Pisces, we've got this supremely harmonious conversation playing out. Now, if you were born right around the first of the month, this energy is going to speak to you that much more strongly than it might to others of your sign. But everyone out there, everyone, and especially every Cancerian out there, should be feeling this energy and benefiting from this energy. So this is a very sweet connection. And ultimately what this says is you believe and trust your heart. You want to believe in love. You have a vision of what could be. For some of you, this is going to play out really in terms of your art and your creativity and what it is that you desire to create as part of that. So this can be a really great time if you're an artist of any kind, an artist or an athlete or dancer, anybody who uses their body as part of making magic happen, right? So if you are part of that, this can be a really great time of inspiration and opportunity coming together really nicely. And that is emphasized for me as I look at what's happening at the very end of the week, which is the full moon. Now, this full moon is speaking in supreme harmony with a very stabilizing Saturn, but also this is happening in a financial part of your sky. So it does suggest that there is financial progress to be made, and changes that happen now put you on a more secure footing with and in terms of your money. So this can be a raise, this could be an idea, an opportunity that shows up for you now to help you to create greater prosperity for yourself, to understand what abundance is and how to create more of it in your life. When it comes to matters of heart, as I said, there's this dreamy energy at the beginning of the week. So this is really good if you're getting to know somebody or open to meeting someone new. There's a real drive to do that, and a sincere connection can certainly be felt. I mean, this looks like you have stars in your eyes. It's just romantic all around. So you can enjoy that certainly as we're starting off the week. But then as we move forward, what is going to happen is, as I've been saying in the introduction, for a lot of the signs, Mercury is in an extended conversation with Pluto and Uranus right to the end of the month. And this is in your opposite sign. So what this suggests is if you are in an established bond, that bond is going to be one that you have to either work on or consider or contemplate or make changes for. And that lesson there really, and I think all Cancerians out there are going to come to this understanding and appreciation that where it comes to love, you really, like one of the sacred lessons of love, I think, is powerlessness. That there's this person and they're going to do whatever it is that they want, and their choices have nothing to do with you. And that's just the way it is. You know, that's how it is, and that's part of what love is meant to teach us. That a lot of times, most of the times, it's not about us. It's not about you. It's about that other person, and their viewpoint, and what they're doing and why they're doing it. And this is love in every form, actually, but romantic love, of course, as well. We feel it in a more heightened kind of way. So the sky right now does suggest to me that this is going to be part of your sacred learning right now and right to the end of the month. But if you stay in that process and remember what's about you and what isn't. If you can find that right space, if you can choose that you're being led to greater love as part of this process, then you certainly will find yourself learning a tremendous amount about yourself and ultimately strengthening your understanding of what love truly is in its healthiest understanding. Hello, fabulous Leo. This week, it is really about that full moon in your sign. When there is a full moon in your sign, you're the star. You really are of the zodiac. Now, you generally really are the star of the zodiac. You add to this full moon happening. Now, this particular full moon is speaking in supreme harmony with Saturn, but not before it starts talking to Mars, really kicking up some stuff. So what this says to me is there's going to be a part of you that is just ready for change. And I do think that emotions are going to certainly be very high for you now. I think that a lot of those emotions might actually play out in the work environment. Work might, there might be some drama playing out at work. You don't have to get in it, okay? So remember that. Like I just said for the Cancerians, what other people do is not about you. And that's going to be something you want to remember this week with your coworkers and actually right to the end of the month. And these are lessons very likely to stay with you for a really long time. What other people do is not about you. It's not personal. And what I mean by that is they've got their own motivations. That doesn't mean that it's always fair or it's always right. That's not what I'm saying. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't speak for yourself, right? Honor yourself when you feel that that's what you're called to that's what you're being called to do. But having said that, just know that having just that little bit of detachment can really help you to create a sense of grounding so that you do know what you do, so that you do know that what you do is actually going to create a greater sense of moving solidly forward, is actually going to be effective and is going to be taken in the right spirit, in a measured and mature approach. That is going to be the successful way forward. Knowing who you are, knowing what works for you and what doesn't, and deciding to ground yourself in a sense of integrity. So there might be some drama playing out in the work sphere. You just let it be. You're like, okay, fine, that's playing out. I don't have to participate. You don't have to put up with anything, but you also can choose not to participate in stuff that you decide not to. But also with this, I do want to say we've got this full moon happening, and then we've got all this energy happening in a part of the sky that also has to do with how are you taking care of yourself. So I spoke in the beginning about self-care and how important that is. That is going to be especially highlighted for you now. And so if there's anything that you need to let go of, if you're one of those people who knows that maybe you feel, right? You don't feel as healthy. To feel healthier, you might need to let something go. It might be emotional baggage. It might be, physically to lose a little bit of weight. It might be a habit, like a bad habit that is not serving you, is really coming to a head now. All of that right now can come to your awareness. I will say this though, if anytime actually this month, and especially as we move past this full moon, if you do have a desire to eliminate something that gets in the way of your absolute best health, then this can be an amazing time to start. So if you do start something now, chances are very likely that you will see it through. Those changes will stick and will show you some amazing results in no time at all. Hello, fabulous Virgo. This week, we've got a very eventful sky, and we have got your ruling planet Mercury speaking with all kinds of power players, right? Just hanging out. As I said in the introduction, hovering. That is the word for Mercury right now and right to the end of the month. Mercury is hovering over Pluto and in conversation with Uranus. And this to me does suggest that for you, this represents a really important time. Now, this is happening in a very compatible place for you in fellow Earth sign Capricorn, which is great. Those of you born smack dab in the middle of your sign, so right around the 5th of the month. So I would say anytime between the 1st and the 10th, you are going to feel this energy more than others of your sign, but all Virgos out there should be able to benefit. So what's really great about this energy is that while other people might be feeling more on edge, you are able to have a much easier grasp of what can be done and how you can move forward and how you can have things go in a way that is positive for you. So while there is, as I said, a heightened energy, at the same time, there's a sense of happiness with it as well. And there's a sense of, okay, I know what to do, and I know it's going to be awesome, and I know all will be well. So be mindful of that. This can certainly work in your favor. If some strong feelings come up, just let them, be like, okay, yeah, I see you. Yeah, I feel really strongly right now. And I know all is well and all will be okay. But I think some of you actually might find it a little intoxicating, and especially when it comes to matters of heart. This is a time when, and if there ever was a time, to meet somebody who just seems to change, just put you on a whole other path, makes you look at the world a whole different way. It could be the most brief, casual, flirtatious moment, but it seems to have a very powerful impact on you. Now, where you decide to take it, totally up to you. But what I really do like about this energy is that you are having the appreciation, you are having the understanding that there are things that you can do to move yourself in a direction where you are more solid. You are at your best, and you are connected to what genuinely makes you happy. You have an understanding of what works and what doesn't for you, and with that insight, you're able to focus in on what matters, moving yourself towards enjoying the love you have, or welcoming in some very romantic, if not passionately transformative moments, but also enjoying all of life as well. Hello, fabulous Libra. This week, we've got all this energy building for you at home. So it's so much about what's happening at home base. Just before you get there though, you are still going to have your ruling planet in a compatible sign to you and in a part of the sky that has to do with talking things out, with online connections, communications, emails, text messages. And so if you are open to meeting someone new or just wanting to solidify bonds, it is those messages and phone calls that are going to be a part of that, be a part of welcoming in more love into your life. And those of you who are already connected to somebody, really great time, okay, overall, to make really big promises that you don't know if you're going to be able to keep. That's the truth. We look at the start of the week and there's some very ambitious, very over-the-top energy where it comes to matters of love and where it comes to your words as well. So I'm going to encourage you to be mindful, to watch yourself, because this could be one of those times that this can play out a few different ways. One is, this is classic Freudian slip, like just saying too much and thinking you're going to say one thing and a whole other thing comes out and it's just way over the top for the moment, or not really understanding the energy of the space you're in, and again going way out on a line of conversation or a comment that really might not suit the moment or the space. But also, I will say, in the context of love, this is really over promising things, and maybe even like through your words giving certain impressions. You could be caught up in the moment, and that's awesome, right? It's awesome to feel love for sure, and you might mean it in that very moment, but it's like those words are going to be taken in a very expansive kind of way. They might be understood differently, and you're just being in the moment, right? And those words could end up being understood in a whole other intention than you had. So just be mindful of that, okay? Because there is that overshooting it type of thing. Not the time to, if you just met somebody, sending them, pictures. Don't do that. This is not the week to do that, especially in the early part of the week. As we move forward, we are going to have your ruling planet change signs and move to the foundation of the chart and move into the area that right now a whole lot is going on. And so it is going to be this area of life that I think, if you are in an established bond, is going to speak to you more strongly. But this looks, it's like being called to home, right? It's like being called to your foundations, considering where you're standing, what ground are you walking on? It's about considering where it is that you belong in the world. What's home going to mean for you? What does home feel like in your spirit? And sometimes the answers are surprising. And for you right now, I feel like the answers are going through this slow shifting process for you. So being able and staying connected to an understanding of what and how the understanding of home is evolving for you, is changing for you, is an important part of how this week is likely to play out. But additionally, I also do want to say that it could very well be that you are called home. So you might have to visit your family of origin. You might have to be present for other people right now. And a part of you, I feel as I look at the sky, it's like there's nowhere else you'd rather be. And there's nowhere else probably that you should be. It looks like an important time where it comes to all matters, whether it's real estate or family, anything to do with home is really where some of the most powerful learning and changes and transitions are going to take place for you. Some real insights that get to the core of a lot of issues. If you've been one of those people who's been trying to find home, or if you've been one of those people who's been trying to feel at home, this week should start a really important process to get you there. And where it comes to being in an established bond, this week is going to kick off a time where it's going to mean so much more to just be with that person, whether in silence or not, to just be with the person that you love, that you're in partnership with, to have that time with them, to have that quiet, separate time with them is going to be particularly meaningful to you. Now, there might be a little bit of an adjustment that needs to take place, like, okay, you have to help your partner understand, to bring your partner on the same page. But once you do that, you are going to find that the relationship finds this way of evolving, a sort of evolution taking place that brings you that much closer to the person that you love. So be mindful physically, the physical structure of your home. Be mindful of the pipes, okay? Because there could be something going on there. But regardless, it really is just your attention and your presence that will bring resolutions. And also, check in with, be mindful of family of origin where it applies. Pick up the phone, right? Again, don't say anything that you don't want to say. Be mindful of your words. But this can be a time when you can make a type of connection and really move towards the future with someone, especially, as I said, family of origin, someone in the past, moving that relationship forward and moving that relationship towards greater love, greater connection, and greater meaning. That can end up having this sweeping effect on many areas of your life, very much for the better. Hello, fabulous Scorpio. This week, we've got a very active sky, but you've got Mars in your sign. So Mars is in your sign. And at the early part of the week, speaking in supreme harmony with Neptune in fellow water sign Pisces. So this to me says a couple of things. One is you are possibly the most inspired of all the zodiacs. You'll be feeling a lot of inspiration, a lot of hope, a lot of forward momentum. You'll be feeling a sense of real openness and guidance from whatever you consider divine, a higher power, love, or the energy of love, or the universe. You will be feeling very plugged into source. And so this is really a good time for any kind of creation that you are interested in. Now, all the water signs in one way or another are going to benefit from this energy, especially where it comes to creativity and even where it comes to love and romance and meeting someone new. And you are really at the heart of it. You're right at the center of it, considering that it is Mars in your sign. So enjoy this energy and enjoy this conversation and stay present for it, stay open for it. But also, make sure you've got like that tape recorder next to your bed, like have your memo app set so that you can, just jot down your dreams or some creative idea or a song that just comes to you while you're lying there trying to go to sleep. Because it is going to be in those moments when you just rest the subconscious just enough that you will find yourself able to bring forward that much more inspiration, and really might touch on something that not only feels magical and meaningful for you, that has the real potential for a windfall. And I don't say that lightly, but I do believe that we all are our own lottery ticket in some way. And yes, the chart does show us where it is, right? There are different things in the chart that can speak to where your proverbial lottery ticket might be. But at the same time, there are certainly periods of times when the universe is going to try to point the way and going to try to show you how it is that you can experience big gains and tremendous gains, or what it is that you could do now that might, in the bigger picture, lead to big gains. Well, right now for you, that is about your creativity. That is about stumbling on an amazing creative idea. So you've got to pay attention to your life, and especially in the early part of the week, pay attention to your life. There's the famous story of J.K. Rowling, right? Like, she was on a train and all of a sudden the whole Harry Potter universe just came into her mind, and she just started writing, and doodling all this stuff. And it just all came together while she was sitting on the train. And something like that literally could happen for you. Like, the idea, the creativity, the words, the vision, it could all come together for you really nicely. And even if it doesn't feel like there's the immediate reward, given the fullness of time and given your commitment to that inspiration, it can only lead to better and better things. What we also have happening this week, in addition to that value of your creativity really is central. We've got a few other things happening that also are really important for you. One is the fact that we are going to have a full moon happening at the very top of your sky. So this full moon is happening in a part of the sky that has to do with career. It has to do with your relationship with bosses. And it has to do with also a sense of life purpose, a sense of direction, a sense of actually moving in a direction that feels genuinely meaningful for you. And I look at this sky, and the fact that this full moon is speaking to Mars, also speaking in supreme harmony to Saturn. And Saturn is in a financial part of your sky. Now, this says to me very strongly that there's the real possibility now of gains to be made. You might have to, face a little bit of your own challenges. You might have some questions if you're doing the right thing, if it's the right timing. You might have to actually be motivated to make the most of whatever ideas are coming to you, or whatever opportunities seem to be showing up for you. But if you can do that, and if you can move forward, you're going to find yourself making gains that do make you feel like you are moving towards success, and also the kind of success that creates prosperity for you now, and the type of prosperity that likely will last for a very long time to come. Finally, Scorpio, in the context of love, where it comes to matters of heart, that Mars and Neptune will have you dreaming big and hoping big as well, which is great if you're open to meeting someone new, and has you being brave as well, knowing that there's love in the world for you. And also, if you're just getting to know someone as well, there might be a little bit of getting carried away, if you will. But this is very hopeful energy. This is energy that encourages you to know that there is love in the world for you. And of course, there would be. For those of you in an established bond, this also can be very romantic, but will take some more conscious effort on your part to cultivate. Do be mindful as I look at this particular sky and I look at the conversation between Venus and Jupiter. I don't know, to me, this says something about friendships and love coming together in a way that is less than ideal. So it looks like, again, you might not necessarily be seeing things accurately. It might be very hopeful, right? It might be a time when you've got lots of misty rose-colored glasses. And so if you are sort of getting messages, intentions, insights from a friend or about a friend from the person that you love, you might have to look at that a little bit more deeply instead of just taking it on face value. But for all of that, the love is there, the romance is there, so enjoy it. Hello, fabulous Sagittarius. This week, we've got a full moon in fellow fire sign Leo. Now, this full moon is happening in your home in the sky. And it says that the things that matter to you most, that help you to feel at home most, are going to be especially important to you now. You add to this the fact that this full moon is speaking to Saturn in your sign, and it says to me that there's the real possibility now for you to have that clarity, that vision, that sense of adventure, that sense of movement, that sense of things are changing for the better and you are moving forward for the better, and knowing how that's going to happen, like actually creating a plan, putting things into place to move you in a more desirable direction. So this is really great for dreaming big, okay? This is great when you are thinking about what do you need to do now to manifest even bigger things further down the road. And this is particularly good for things that have to do with travel or higher education or even legal matters as well. The thing though is that this full moon first is speaking with Mars, so it looks like some passions might be stirred, which, it looks like based on stuff that is either based in your fear or based on stuff that you just really have no control over, that you've got to turn over and you've got to trust that there are angels or people working away on your behalf, and trust that good things are taking place. It's like you want to push, but you can't really push. You've just got to wait it out, and then the news will be fair and the news will be good. And at least that'll help you to understand now which way you want to move forward and how it is that you want to move forward. But adventure is opening up for you, and that of course includes in matters of heart as well. You do want to watch, we've got Venus in your sign. Before the week is over, Venus will leave your sign and move into the sign of Capricorn. But the fact that we've got Venus in your sign and speaking with Jupiter at that, this says to me that there is very likely going to be a sense on your part of, I see this playing out on a level of your career, on a level of big picture, on a level of thinking that there's something big and grand that you want, and how is it that you can make that happen. This is going to speak to matters of heart, but also matters of prosperity as well. So where it comes to matters of heart, it's like if you're meeting someone new, getting to know someone, it's like you're thinking kind of big picture. And with this particular conversation, this also has to do with I think about how you can see somebody for their potential rather than who they are right now. And there's sometimes there's ways to make that work. Sometimes there's ways to say, okay, this is the person and I care about this person, and maybe it's in a partnership and you love this person, but know that you've got to focus on you because they have their own path and a part of their path that has nothing to do with you. And so you might see all this potential in them, but it's up to them to realize it. It's up to them to decide when and how and if they are meant to manifest that and how it is that they're meant to manifest that. And if it is that you think that you know better, like I know what you need to be happy, to make money, to be spiritual, whatever the case may be, as soon as you start feeling that, like, oh, if this person would just listen to me, then you got to pull back. That really is the best advice I can give. Where it comes to money, though, there is some stress taking place right around finances. It's temporary. It is temporary. It will pass. And this is allowing you to understand more deeply how you want to make your money. Where is your source of prosperity going to come from? So don't give in to that temptation to go into that cycle of worry. Don't do that. You have to trust that there's prosperity in the world for you, and absolutely there is. Without a doubt, there's prosperity in the world for you. It might be, if you are in that place where you've been pursuing a path maybe that isn't necessarily the path that will lead to the greatest sense of emotional and practical prosperity, then you might find some roadblocks taking place. But if you're on a path where, whether or not there's a lot of financial reward right now, but you know that if you stick with this path, it will lead you to greater financial reward, you'll find yourself being able to work with this energy that much more readily. Okay, so I wouldn't say easily. This is Pluto and Mercury and Uranus, so it's not necessarily about being easy. But if you have a creative vision, if you have a creative project that you're working on, right now you really could be putting things into place between now and the end of the month that promise to pay off big time sooner than you think. Hello, fabulous Capricorn. Well, this week we've got Mercury in your sign standing still and going direct. But actually, as I said in the introduction, and as I actually said in the monthly horoscope for your sign as well, hovering. That's the best word for it. Mercury is kind of hovering over Pluto, hanging out by Pluto, speaking with Uranus as well, hovering in conversation with Uranus. This is happening right to the end of the month. So for you, in some ways, energies are really going to be heightened. Now, this can work on your own behalf. If you really want some big breakthrough and you want a big change to happen, you could experience that now. If you want some big recognition, you could experience that now. If you know that there's something, a goal, a mission, a purpose that you are ready to focus and hone in on and make something big happen, that could happen for you now. So it's a wonderful time, in a sense, if you use this energy. If you don't use this energy, then you are going to be feeling very much on edge, to be honest. And that would not be conducive, and that would be such a waste of the opportunity here. The opportunity here is to figure out something that is worth focusing on, whether it's a passion, whether it's commitment, whether it's a specific project, whatever it may be. If you find value in it, if you find meaning in it, or even if you just find that it allows you to direct your energies, that itself is more than enough to dive right in. So if you have a project that is near and dear to your heart, then this can be a wonderful time for you. But if you end up trying to use this energy in terms of love, that's where I would just caution you to hold on and hold back a little bit, because you are one of those signs that where it comes to love right now, things can feel very heightened. But one thing that's really great is that a couple of things here. One is that if you are open to meeting someone new, or you haven't in a while and you've been wondering why, or you're just getting to know someone, this will provide you with some powerful insights. The full moon at the end of the week, powerful insights into what's really going on with you and how you can make changes that stick, that do create solid opportunities for the kind of commitment that you might desire. And if you are in a committed bond, I think that this full moon represents two things. One is the deepening of that bond, the revealing of secrets to each other that allows a deeper intimacy to take place. It might be a moment or something that comes up. You might see something, it might be like a text message, for example, and all of a sudden it just really gets you riled up and it lends itself to a conversation that brings you that much closer. So keep in mind, Mercury is standing still, is retro at the start of the week. Standing still starts to go direct as the week begins, or as the week ends rather. So this does suggest to me that the chance for uncertainty, confusion is there, okay? So it could be, very likely could be, if it's that text message situation, that you're misinterpreting things. But it does lend itself to a greater sense of intimacy with the person that you love. But this also could mean that your partner now, your established, committed partner, if you are in that type of partnership right now, could make some very strong financial gains that create a greater sense of prosperity for both of you in a very solid and secure kind of way. So this is not likely to be like one of those one-time things, but that your spouse seems to have either a raise or a rise in income, a rise in abundance that benefits the both of you for a long time to come. Hello, fabulous Aquarius. This week, we have got this super active sky, and a lot of the action is taking place in the sign just before yours. And so when I see this happening, it says to me that a whole lot is going on within you and a whole lot is going on behind the scenes. And you are thinking and rethinking and considering and probably having some really vivid dreams as well as to where you are now and where it is that you desire to go. There might be with this some tiredness, okay, but there might also be some working through the tiredness, creating brilliance as a result. There might be with this a real need for you to figure out, and especially if you're one of those Aquarians, look, you're an Aquarian, you're here with a message, right? You think about the symbol of your sign as the water bearer. The water represents consciousness that you are pouring out onto the world. And so that consciousness as an air sign often comes in the form of words. And so what is it that you desire to express? What is it that you desire to share? Where is your voice now? And so this has to do with where your ruling planet is right now, getting this energy from Mercury. Anything that's been holding you back, getting in the way of your full expression of your truth, of your message, of whatever that consciousness is that you desire to share. This is going to help you to understand what that is and to clear the way forward. But one thing you do want to watch with this is, you know, there's the Freudian slip that I talked about with your other earth sign Libra. And that's a Freudian slip of, you know, overdoing it or overpromising things. But the Freudian slip for you is different. It is a real surprise all around. It's really erratic. It's that type of Freudian slip that's possible now. But also it can be like this huge game changer, right? And rather than going in that direction, my advice also is, look, I do believe that in every single moment we are playing out a move, a deeper urge that we all have towards greater love and greater wisdom, collectively and individually as well. And so it's possible that you might share something or you might express something, and then you second guess yourself. And then you've got to take a little bit of a step back. And then you've got to figure out, okay, how am I going to move forward from here? It might not even be anything that to other people even matters. It might not even be anything that's consequential on the surface, but for you, it can be a very important moment of truth and a real moment of clarity of what that expression is going to be. Exactly what is that you desire to express? What is your form of consciousness that you're here to share with the world going to look like? And this is tremendously valuable for you. In the context of love, we have got, as the week is starting, we've got Venus in a harmonious part of the sky for you, in a friendship-oriented part of the sky for you, but speaking with Jupiter. So again, I look at this and I think about this having to do with, Venus being in a part of the sky that has to do with friendships, and Jupiter being in a part of the sky that has to do with either money, large sums of money, or secrets. So a couple of ways that this can play out, especially if you're in an established bond, but even if you're not, if you're open to meeting someone new. You want to be mindful whether it's someone you just met, or even if you're in an established bond, again, if your partner's asking for some kind of large investment or large bunch of cash, they might not even mean it. It might just be a joke, but it looks like it doesn't sit right with you. So you want to watch that and be mindful of that and find ways to express that. But this also can be, so that can play out in terms of love. It might also play out in terms of friendships, so just be aware of that. But this also can be feeling like there's something that you don't want a friend to know, or a friend telling you something that you would rather not know. So remember, Mercury's retrograde right now. Mercury is going to stand still. So that is where the clarity is going to start to come slowly but surely. So if this happens in the early part of the week, Know that it may not be right on the money, but if you move towards the later part of the week, that is increasingly when you'll be able to understand what is going on. That's going to happen in a small percentage of you. So just know that it's very unlikely, but just a small percentage of you might experience this energy in that way. And finally, full moon in your opposite sign. Do watch your monthly horoscope for love for this month of January, because I talk about this extensively. Love is really going to start to be the focus as we end the week and as you enter next week, especially. So love, there's going to be someone there. If you have love, it's going to be made stronger. If you are not right now connected to someone in a romantic way, someone is going to show up to help you learn something about yourself in the context of matters of heart. Hello, fabulous Pisces. This week we've got Neptune in your sign getting a boost from Mars right off the top of the week. This says to me that you are going to be feeling that all is well in your world. Your imagination is going to be especially heightened now. And also, this is going to be a time, I think the water signs in general are going to feel very plugged into source. And this is especially true for you. That's when you're at your best, actually, when you feel guided by that energy of source. But having said that, when I look at the rest of the week, right, this is really great. I love it. You're feeling empowered. You're probably feeling more energetic at the start of the week as well. So it's a great time for you to be just getting more active, getting more out there, having new experiences. All of that is going to be especially exciting for you now. But when I look at what happens as we move further and further into the week, just a couple of things I do want to mention. One is there might be, okay, this is small might, but I just want to point this out. This can play out a few different ways, but ultimately this involves drama, I'm sorry to say, but this is like drama within friends or groups or memberships that you might hold, okay? So just keep that in mind. And for a few of you, a small percentage of you, there might even be a financial element to this. So if it is that your friends are having some drama between them, you can choose not to get involved. You can actually say, nope, I'm gonna pull back. That's between you guys to work out, you figure it out. And you can decide to see good in both of them or all of them, because it looks like someone might try to pull you into what ultimately is not yours to be pulled into, okay? And so it's up to you. Yes, you have that sensitivity. Yes, you might want that harmony, but it doesn't mean that you have to take on stuff that isn't yours, okay? The other thing and the other way that this can work out actually does have to do with like memberships and member dues, and there might be some issue with if there's a certain like annual fee or monthly fee as being part of some kind of group. This can be some issue arising around that. But this also can play out in terms of like if you've been belonging to a group, you've been connected to them for a long time, this is going to be a moment where you wonder if this still makes sense for you, if this is still the route you're meant to take, if these are still your people, if you will, right? What is it that connects you to them? What is it that you have in common with them? And just really, it comes down to awareness, but this is just going to be a time that's going to make you aware of the truth of the different dynamics that are playing out there in terms of your connections with other people. And it is from that place that you can decide who it is that's really going to be with you and who it is that you want to be with you as you move towards your future, a brave and bold and beautiful future at that. What we do also have happening this week is a full moon towards the end of the week. This full moon is happening in a part of the sky for you that has to do with the workplace. So you can expect changes to happen there. It is possible that some changes are going to come about very quickly that lead to an increase of responsibility for you. Now, that might not translate into a financial gain just yet. And so it's going to be up to you to decide if you are going to take on those responsibilities. But it does look very possible that that can be something that shows up for you rather quickly as we move towards the end of the week, and even as we're starting next week as well. Where it comes to matters of love and matters of heart, it does look like the fact that we have got Venus about to move in towards the later part of the week into a harmonious part of the sky for you, part of the sky that has to do with friendships. So it's almost like there is going to be a segment of friendships that feel dramatic, maybe not as stable. But at the same time, it looks like before the week is out, the love starts coming back in. A softer understanding and a gentler approach starts to come back in. If you're in an established bond, this is going to be a sense of having someone who's got your back, having someone who's on your side and can help you to understand the different connections and what they say about you and how you're moving forward. This can also be, as I look at this particular dynamic, this can also be a sense of feeling love for a friend, romantic love for a friend, or a friend introducing you, or you hanging out with your friends, being the conduit to someone new entering the picture. Now, Mercury's the dominant energy though, so keep that in mind. Mercury's standing still, Mercury's hovering over Pluto. So emotions are likely to be heightened even where it comes to matters of heart, but more will be played out in the weeks ahead, especially as Venus moves into this part of the sky and slowly but surely starts moving towards Pluto. Emotions will steadily be heightening and heightening as we move through the month and right through the month. So whatever connections come up now, just know that it's not the final answer. It's not the instant, okay, this is yes or this is no. I know exactly where this is going or not, because it's just when you think that everything starts to turn around on you. Instead, let the moment be what it needs to be, knowing that the next moment will reveal more and more to you, as life often does, right? That's often the way that life works. But you are moving in a direction that is strong. You're moving in a direction where you are opening yourself to greater love and more genuine connections with other people, and deepening the connections that truly do matter to you now and into your future. Well, thank you so much to everybody out there. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.